Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you so much for a wonderful Kirtan Shivani and for wonderful Mridang playing. Uh, enjoyed enjoyed the energy and the enthusiasm of the Kirtan. Thank you so much for it. Hare Krishna, everyone. So we will continue with our discussion on Prahlad Maharaj. We actually can't see your deities, Shivani. I think there's so much of light being reflected. We just see an effulgence, or maybe they are just in. Yeah, now we can. I think if you get closer, Jai. Thank you.
This verse is made by Shivani.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, beautiful.
yeah.
Okay, Shivani is taking orders.
This was long due, Prabhu. I started long back, but finally, 2 weeks back, Krishna's mercy, I was able to finish it. Yeah.
In devotee communities, some skills are in high demand. Making jewelry, making dresses, singing kirtan, cooking prasadam. They are like at the top of the list.
We have Indu Mataji as our inspiration for all this.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll continue with our discussion on the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. We had so far discussed about the appearance of last week. We had discussed about the appearance of Lord Nrsinghadeva, the killing of Hiranyakashipu, and then following the killing, all the devas, Lakshmi Devi, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they were standing, and Lord Nrsinghadeva was very, very extremely angry. So angry that they were all scared to approach. So, question to you all is that anger is in the mode of ignorance, and the Lord is transcendental to the modes. So, how do we understand the anger of Lord Nrsinghadeva? Not only do we understand it, we actually glorify it. Um, uh, there are different varieties of deities of Lord Nrsinghadeva that are worshipped, and they kind of depend on the particular mood of Lord Nrsinghadeva. So one of the moods of Lord Nrsinghadeva is called Ugra Nrsinga, and that is the mood wherein you see him with the Hiranyakashipu on his lap, and all his nails in his intestines and blood all over his. The worship of that deity is very, very difficult, very rare. There are very few sculptures who will even agree to uh, carve such a deity. And then there are I think 7 different modes. The mode in which Lord Nrsinghadeva is generally worshipped is Prahlad Narsingh or Lakshmi Narsingh. So that is the pacified mood. That Prahlad Narsingh, Lord Nrsinghadeva, he is no longer angry. He's benedicting. The Ashirvad Mudra is prominent. Similarly, Lakshmi Nrsinghadeva, Lakshmi Devi is sitting on his lap. He's pacified. That's the general one that is worshipped. Relatively easy worship. Nrsinghadeva worship is generally high standard. So that's why Grasthas don't generally have Lord Nrsingadev as the predominant deity. So of course we all keep picture deities, or we'll keep, if we keep it in the Archa Vigraha form, then not as the primary deity, just because even in the Ashirvad Mudra, his worship is considered to be difficult. In Mayapur, the deity of Lord Nrsingadev is Thanu Narsingha, and that is the form in which he is just ready to jump out of the pillar. So his knees are bent, and he is ready to spring there. He's angry, but not really fully angry there. And even when Srila Prabhupada had commissioned the sculpture to make the deity, only one sculpture agreed, somewhere deep in the south. There was an old person, I forget his name. He agreed to make the deity, and after he made the deity, he became very attached to the deity. So, so the devotees in Mayapur, they kept calling him, "Is the deity ready?" And then he would say, "Almost ready, soon." And they would call again, and he would say, "Yeah, very soon, week or so, 2 weeks." And Prabhupada said, "He's not giving the deity. You go there and get the deity." And then all these devotees, they started, making preparation. And then in the meantime, he called himself, the sculpture. And then he said, "You come quickly and take the deity." He said, "What happened?" And said, "He's burned my entire shed down. He wants to be worshipped over there. He's upset that I've been keeping him." So he came clean then. That yes, the deity had been ready for a while. He was making excuses not to give the deity, but the deity got upset at him, and he had actually burned his shed down. And he said, next thing, I know he's going to burn my house down. So you please come right away." He became insistent, "Come as quickly as possible." So they had to actually rush from Mayapur to some place in south. I forget which place it was. And for those of you who have gone to Mayapur, you have taken darshan of the deity. Otherwise, you can take darshan in mayapur.org or any of the websites. Magnificent deity. So the devotees, they loaded the deity in the truck, and if my memory serves me right, Tamal Krishna Maharaj or Jayapataka Maharaj, one of them were actually with the deity. Generally, traveling across state lines in India, if you're carrying a goods truck, is very difficult, because there's this thing called octroi, which is basically interstate taxes. And at least I never could understand what it is, but basically it's a way for people to make money. So they'll stop you when you're crossing over from one state line to another, and they'll make you wait for hours and hours together, fill up paperwork, charge you some bizarre amount of money, and essentially a way to get money. But the devotees who were carrying Nrsingadev, they said not at one place were they stopped. All the way from down south, up north, moving east, went to Calcutta, Mayapur, not a single place. And they just drove because they could understand that the deity is anxious to get worshipped. Now, in terms of who to worship the deity, the Sthanu Narsingha, Srila Prabhupada said, can only be worshipped by a Naistik Brahmachari. So one who is never been married, who is celibate from birth. And difficult to get such a person. Prabhupada said that is a requirement to worship Nrsingadev deity, otherwise offenses will harm you. So that's when these twins, Jananivas Prabhu and Panchagri Prabhu, they they're originally from England, and they came and they basically volunteered, agreed, or requested to be considered as pujaris, and worshipping. Of course, we know Panchagri Prabhu passed away, but um, they had been worshipping from the time that the deity was established. And there are so many wonderful pastimes. If you go to Mayapur, I know once we went, and they sit and talk about the pastimes of the deity over there. So many times the deity has protected. The Mayapur temple was attacked by dacoits. They wanted to steal the deity because they thought that the deity was made of gold. So they tried to steal the deity. And another time, they were just attacked by communists or gangsters or some, they just thought that this is a Western temple, etc. And Lord Nrsinghadeva has protected so many times the deities. Their devotees over there are very, very attached to Lord Nrsinghadeva. There was a devotee. There is a devotee in ISKCON, second generation. Um, I think his name is Dhruva, and he made it his. He very, very attached to Nrsinghadeva, so he made it his mission to visit all the Nrsinghadeva temples, the prominent Nrsinghadeva temples in India. And I think he wrote a small book. I read the article, it was published in Back to Godhead. He wrote a small book where he talked about very, very ancient temples. One temple that he went in, it was actually in the middle of a jungle, and it was so much in the wilderness that the priest would say that commonly we see bears and leopards come. So he actually, and he published, he showed the pictures, and there, in each of them is in different mood. And there is a Nrsinghadeva deity, and I'm sorry, I should have been better prepared. I forget his name. He is somewhere in Kerala. Maybe Indulekha would know. And they.
The Sthanu Nrsinga?
No, it's a different.
Ugra Nrsinga?
No. I forget the name of the deity. So they feed.
Oh, Ahovalam. The Ahovalam one.
No, not in Ahovalam.
Okay, then I don't know.
They feed the deity with jaggery mixed in water, and the deity has this special quality. So when the priest feed the deity, you can actually hear the sound of the deity drinking the water. And this deity has this special dispensation that he will drink half the water, and half the water he will regurgitate, which the devotees then accept as a Mahaprasad. They're very, very popular temple. In Duleka, it may be Ahovalam, not 100% sure. Somehow I thought it's a different name there, but I can check on it and let you know.
It is Ahovalam only.
It is Ahovalam? Okay.
That's where it's on a hill. It's in the top of a hill. That it's a very special self-manifested deity of Nrsinghadeva.
And that's where they feed the deity with jaggery water.
Yeah, that's how I recall it.
Okay. I think you're right. It's probably Ahovalam.
That lord is called Panakal Nrsinghadeva, Prabhuji.
Palaka.
Panak means like sweet water. He is famous as, I think, Ahovalam only. Panakal Nrsinghadeva they call.
Panaka. Okay. Thank you. Getting good information there. What is the so it is Thanu Nrsinga over there? Or no, I think in Ahobalam it is yoga nursing. So he's sitting in the yogic position over there. So the reason that Lord Nrsingadev is so popular and famous is because of the special sweet relationship that he had that only devotees can appreciate. I was listening to one of the lectures by in Chapati, and the devotee there, he was talking about it's humorous but also representative, that a prominent Buddhist, he came and visited the Juhu temple, and he was looking around. Krishna is the god of love, very good, nice. And then he looked at Lord Nrsingadev and he asked the devotees, so this is Lord Nrsingadev with Hiranyakashipu, his stomach torn and intestines around his neck, and Buddhists, they are big on ahimsa. And then he says, who is he? And the devotees say, this is God. He says, really? This is God? And who is this small boy with a garland? This is his devotee. He says, okay, why is he garlanding him? And he said, because that person on the lap, he just killed him.
Haribol, have you turned the FB live?
Yeah.
And Valaka is trying to get in, I think. Just check.
I don't see anybody.
No,
She got-
I'm already in. I'm already in.
So he says that why is he getting ready to garland him? Well, because he just killed this person. I said, who is this person? He said, this is this boy's father. I said, really? So God comes and kills the young boy's father, and the boy is getting ready to garland him? I said, yes. He said, this is your religion? He said, yes. So the Buddhist was never seen again. So it's a mood that is very difficult to appreciate unless you penetrate the mysteries of bhakti. And it's the mood that is revealed in the prayers by Prahlad Maharaj. They appear in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam in the 9th chapter. So when Prahlad Maharaj approaches, so we know he does not volunteer, he's kind of conscripted, drafted. Brahma pushes him forward, literally, that's saying, you go and pray, try to appease the Lord. And Prahlad Maharaj goes and gives obeisances. He falls flat on the ground, gives obeisances to the lotus feet of Lord Nrsingadev. And then he approaches Lord Nrsingadev. And, and then Lord Nrsingadev looks at him. So till this point, he is burning with anger. So one of the questions that we kind of started this with, I got a little bit carried away, is how do we understand the anger? The question of the Buddhist question was that what kind of a God do you have that gets angry and kills in this way, in such a ghastly way? So how do we understand this anger of the personality of God?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. One time I heard, Prabhuji, like from devotees that, like from you only, I heard that, when one devotee is suffering in the hands of a demon, and all other devatas, they haven't even made an attempt to rescue Prahlad Maharaj. They are also devotees, and they have not made any attempt to protect. So Lord is upset with their lack of concern or attempt.
Thank you for sharing. Any other thoughts?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So in the whole story of Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad, the Lord himself was criticized by Hiranyakashipu a lot of times, that he is not there, he is not God, I am God, you pray to me, a lot of times, multiple times. But finally, the devotee of the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj, was challenged that, if you think he is there, then make him appear. Make him appear in front of my eyes. Do you think he's there? Then make him appear. So that's when, the Lord got angry and he appeared in that mood. So for his devotees can do anything.
Very good. Thank you.
And similar mode, Prabhuji, was exhibited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, right? When Lord Nityananda was attacked. So he couldn't contain himself at that point in time. And he said that I can tolerate anything on me, but not on my devotees. So he was ready to kill the two Jagai Medai, even though he did not come in this Leela, at least Chaitanya Leela, he did not come as a, he came to spread this bhakti, but still he could not control. So for his devotees.
Very nice analogy. Very nice paddle, not analogy. Very nice paddle. Thank you, Rajneesh. So yes, that's the transcendental anger of Lord Nrsinghadeva, and we see that in past times that the Lord, he's Akhila Rasamrita, the personification of mellows, sweetness. Nobody can be sweeter than the Lord, but he does not tolerate offenses to his devotees. How, to what extent is he intolerant? That he will actually deprive another devotee of his own association if he sees that they are offending other devotees. To that extent, because generally he is very, very, because in that way, the personality of God is what's the term that is used? It's very popular in India, where nepotism, right? Nepotism. You get a job, then after that you get your nephew a job, and then you get your niece a job, and then your neighbor a job, and you tell somebody that, oh, he got a job because he is the nephew of the manager there, and they will say, yeah, fine, they will accept it. Nobody will say, this is not right, were they qualified? Yeah, that's the qualification, he was the nephew of the manager. No other qualification is important. So nepotism is it's matter of fact, it's accepted. Krishna is ultimate in nepotism, that you become part of his family, you become his devotee, and and then he says that apichet sudurachar bhajate mamachal ananyabhak, that even if you are sudurachar, the worst of the devotees, sadhureva samantapya, still you consider the person as a devotee, right? So he's not saying that leave the person alone. He's saying, when he says you consider the person as a devotee, you means that you give him all the respect, all the considerations of a devotee. In this case, as Ravi Prabhu pointed out, Lord Nrsinghadeva, he was not that much upset at Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is a demon. That's his job description, right? He comes and he harasses devotees. That's his job description. So he was upset firstly, and he later on chastises Brahma, that why do you go around giving such benedictions that make people so powerful? Why do you give such benedictions that are so difficult to accommodate? And then he has the general annoyance that, didn't you see my devotee being traumatized in this way? Now the Devas could say that, my dear Nrsinghadeva, even we were being traumatized. So because Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers, he tries to cover for the Devas. Even though he's 5 years old, he's very, very intelligent, right? So he tries to cover for the Devas. What does he say in his prayers? He says that all the way from the most powerful Deva, they were petrified simply by the movement of the eyebrows of my father. So Hiranyakashipu didn't even have to roll up his sleeves and go to the battlefield to fight. They were so scared of him that if he would frown, they would literally be scared. Narad Muni says that I used to stand in the court of Hiranyakashipu with my hands folded, glorifying him. So Prahlad Maharaj makes this point that, yeah, don't be upset at them. They were themselves victims. But Lord Nrsinghadeva is still upset because he says that na me bhakte pranamshate, that my devotees should never be vanquished. It's the duty. It's the duty of the Devas. It's the duty of Lord Brahma. It's the duty of Lord Shiva. And they were all aware of it. Because why would Brahma be otherwise scared of Lord Nrsinghadeva? He's not scared that Lord Nrsinghadeva is going to kill him. He's secure in his position as a devotee. Lord Shiva is secure in his position as a devotee. So they're not, and they had no confusion regarding the position of Lord Nrsinghadeva. That yes, this is Krishna. But they were scared. So it's like when you do something wrong, then you are fearful. So they were scared because they should have protected Prahlad Maharaj, and they did not. When Prahlad Maharaj approaches Nrsinghadeva, he is unable to really speak. So you can imagine 5-year-old boy in the presence of the personality of Godhead in a particularly angry mood. And then Lord Nrsinghadeva, he puts his hand on the head of Prahlad Maharaj. And the Bhagavatam says that just by the touch of the hand of the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj, he let go of all his fears and anxieties and confusions, all his material contamination, and he became empowered to speak. We see the same thing in the context of another child devotee, which is Dhruva Maharaj. That when he was doing all the austerities and Lord Vishnu came, then he was so taken in by the Lord, he did not know what to speak. And he was just a boy. He had never read the or at least he was not an expert in the Vedas. So he did not even know how to glorify the Lord. And then the Lord, with his conch shell, he touches the cheek or the head of Dhruva Maharaj. And then Dhruva Maharaj begins to recite eloquent prayers to Lord Vishnu. And we see that same thing, that Prahlad Maharaj, when he is touched by the hand of Nrsinghadeva, then he starts reciting prayers. Now, one of the important points that is made here is that by the touch of the Lord, the material contamination of Prahlad Maharaj disappeared. So what does this tell us? He had material contamination. Prahlad Maharaj was not a pure devotee, at least not till that point. So what's the message for us? We don't have to be a pure devotee before we expect the protection of the Lord. Okay? Because if Prahlad Maharaj was already a pure devotee, then that statement would not have been made, that all his material contamination were eliminated. That is, they were present there. But with all the material contaminations that he had, Lord Nrsinghadeva personally came. And in his prayers, he addresses that. Prahlad Maharaj, he acknowledges this munificence of the Lord. So the first thing that he prays is, in his prayer, he talks about his own inadequacy to pray. So how does he establish his inadequacy? He says that I'm born in a very low down family. I'm born in a family of asuras. And I'm standing in the presence of personalities like Lord Brahma and other saintly people who have very, very illustrious antecedents. So what can I say? I am not, all I can say is I am not qualified. So then one might say at this point that if you're not qualified to speak, then go away. Right? So same point is made in, like if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, what does Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami opens up by saying? Right? First thing he says is, I'm not qualified. Then the question is, then why are you writing the book? If you're not qualified, you're wasting your time, my time also. You're not qualified to write this, and you've written all this. Why should I write? Why should I read it? So when they say that I'm not qualified, the point that they're saying is that the only qualification that I have is the mercy of the Lord. Without the mercy of the Lord, I have no qualification. So that's the qualification that Prahlad Maharaj is also, he's laying stake to. He says, I have no qualification, but then he says that, but what is the qualification that is required for a person to approach the Lord? He says, is it wealth? Is it birth, aristocratic family? Is it education, austerity? Is it mystic powers? And then he says, no, that all these qualifications cannot satisfy the personality of Godhead. So then what will satisfy the personality of Godhead? So the answer that he gives is, all that the Lord needs is bhakti. So devotion is the qualification to approach the Lord. So now one may question that, my dear Prahlad, you were pretending to be very humble. Now you're boasting about your devotion. So you're saying that you were born in an Asura family and you have no qualification, and we felt good about it. Now you're saying, but I'm a great devotee. That's why I'm able to render prayers. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but when we used to, seems like a distant memory, but in the Sunday feast classes, you could see the difference between the mood of people who are practicing devotees and who are not. Right? Practicing devotees would generally ask questions in a more humble way. And those who are not, I remember one person got up and said that, I really liked your class, and I'm such a pure devotee of Krishna that anytime I listen to classes of Krishna, I become completely enthralled by it. So from his own self, he was trying to, I was giving the class at the time. So he was trying to, I guess, encourage me by saying that you gave a good class. But in doing so, he was basically, describing himself in, I'm such a pure devotee of the Lord, and I enjoy classes, and I enjoyed your class. So one may say that, what's going on, Prahlad? How come you're all of a sudden boasting that the Lord accepts bhakti as the currency to be that by which one can approach him, and I can approach him because of this currency? So how do we understand this? How do we reconcile this mood of Prahlad Maharaj? Without reading the prayers, because of course he explains the prayer. He explains his mood in the prayers. Okay. Yeah, it's a little tricky. So what does Prahlad say? That any qualification that I have to approach you is by the mercy of Narad Muni. Right? So he's saying that I have no qualification. But my Guru Maharaj has, for whatever reason, Ahituki. There was no cause. But for some reason, he gave me his mercy. That is why I am now qualified to approach you. So this is the mood of a devotee. There is this pastime of a disciple of Sripad Ramanujacharya, and his name was Govinda. Simple person. And Ramanujacharya devotees generally have this mood of strong humility and also appreciating others' qualities. So his god brothers would say, Govinda, you cook very well. And he said, yeah, I'm an excellent cook. And they would say, you sing very well. He said, yeah, I'm a superlative singer. Very few people can sing as well as I do. They say, oh, you're very learned. So yeah, I'm fully expert in all angas of the Vedas. So after some time, they got a little bit upset at him that we are glorifying him because it is decorum, but it seems to be going to his head. So they went to Ramanujacharya. They said, this Govinda guy, he has big problem. Everything we say, he says, I'm more than that. So you say, you sing well? He said, yeah, I'm actually a great singer. We say, you cook well? He said, yeah, I'm the best cook. So Ramanujacharya, that's not good. Let me talk to Govinda. He called Govinda over and says, your god brothers are complaining about this. Is it true? He said, yeah, it is true. Whenever they say, I do say that I'm much better than what they say. So Ramanujacharya, but Govinda, the quality of a devotee is humility. How do you make the statements? And Govinda said that, Guru Maharaj, before I became a disciple, I had no qualities. After you accepted me as your disciple, all these qualities are manifested in me. So when they glorify it, I just look upon it as the fact that they're glorifying your mercy. And you're most merciful. I feel that they should even glorify your mercy further. So that's why I'm superlative in it. And Ramanujacharya laughed and he said, it's okay, but you don't have to present it that way. You have to at least follow the Vaishnav etiquette. So Prahlad Maharaj is demonstrating that quality. He's saying, I'm qualified to speak to you because you allow your devotees to approach you. And the only reason I'm your devotee is because I have gotten the mercy of another of your dear devotee, which is Narad Muni. Now, in the Bhagavatam, it is not given, but in the Narsingh Puran, the previous life of Prahlad Maharaj is given. That in his previous life, Prahlad Maharaj, he was what is known as a Brashta Brahman. So he was a Brahman, but bad habits. Specifically, he was having an illicit relationship with another woman, a prostitute or a woman, not clear. So once they had this arrangement, this tryst to meet at some place in the jungle, some isolated place. So he went a little early, and then anticipating to please his paramour, he went to a building that was discarded. He cleaned the whole building, and then he waited for her to come. But for some reason, she did not come. And when she came, she was late, and he was very angry with her. So they quarreled, and because they were angry, he did not speak to her, but his anger was so strong that he did not sleep the whole night. did not sleep and stayed awake, did not eat anything. It so happened that that day was Narsingh Chaturdashi. And the building that he was in was an ancient temple of Lord Nrsinghadeva. So unknowingly, he served the Lord by cleaning his temple. He followed Narsingh Chaturdashi by fasting, staying awake. So because of that Agyat Sukriti, he got the opportunity to take birth. But because he had also, it was Agyat, and he had also a bundle of sins, he also took birth in this adverse situation. So because of that Sukriti, he attracted the mercy of a devotee. And because of the mercy of the devotee, he attracted the attention of the Lord. Now, the glory of Prahlad Maharaj is that he took the mercy. Right? Because we discussed this last time, the mercy was extended to him and his mother, more to his mother than to him. Because Narad Muni was essentially preaching to Kayadu. And Prahlad Maharaj was listening in the womb. Same thing we see in the pastime of Narad Muni, that the Bhakti Vedantas came and they gave their mercy both to Narad Muni and his mother. But his mother, and he says, she was a simple woman and bound by the ropes of the modes of material nature. Even though she was simple, she was pious, she served the Bhakti Vedantas. But Narad Muni really took the mercy. So because of her prior devotion, because of her prior Sukriti, we would get an opportunity to receive mercy. But ultimately, we have to take that mercy. Srila Prabhupada would say that all of you who have come to ISKCON is because you have performed so much of piety, so much of devotional service. You have burnt away so much of your sins. And that is why you have this good fortune of coming in the association of the devotees, the deities, prasadam, this environment. But now it's up to you. You have to take it. And Prahlad Maharaj, he took it with both hands. So we see two important aspects of approaching the Lord. One is this mood of dainya. Dainya is this mood of humility, of considering oneself. Humility is interesting. Humility is considering oneself as not the center of everything. Right? Hridayananda Maharaj gives the example. Humility is not thinking less about yourself, but spending less time thinking about yourself. Right? Because one aspect of false humility is you go around telling everybody, I'm so humble, Prabhu. And all the time you're basically saying, I'm so humble, I'm the most fallen, nobody is more fallen than me. Srila Prabhupada chastised one of his disciples. Disciple came to Prabhupada and said that, I'm the most fallen person, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, you're not the most fallen anything. Right? Because to be at this point where you say you're most fallen, it's a very, very exalted position where you actually think you're most fallen. But still, even though, because we are sadhakas, so the sadhakas is that you practice until you perfect it. So we still practice humility. It's a little different from artificial humility, but we still practice humility. Like we give deference, we be respectful, we glorify, and maybe that's not completely in our innate character now, but it will become. It will become, because when we practice humility, then we attract the mercy of the devotees. The devotees say that, oh, such a nice devotee. He's serving all the time. He's serving. He's um, um, he's helpful, and the Lord's mercy quickly follows the mercy of the devotee. So that was the first thing that he said, that I'm unqualified. Second thing that point that he made is that he talked about his relationship with his preceptor. Talked about his relationship with Narad Muni. Actually, he says this specifically, that I am in the disciplic succession of Lord Brahma. Because he is a disciple of Narad Muni, who is in the Brahma Sampradaya. So Prahlad Maharaj is actually in our disciplic succession, or we are in Prahlad Maharaj disciplic succession. He makes this point explicitly, that I am in the parampara of Lord Brahma, and because of the mercy that is descending through the parampara, I am standing before you, and I am able to consider myself qualified to speak to you. So in a way, this is Prahlad Maharaj establishing his credentials. Right? This is my adhikar. This is why I am standing in front of the personality of Godhead and speaking to him. So what is the very next thing that Prahlad Maharaj does? He says, my Lord, thank you very much for killing my father. Right? It's a little counterintuitive, but top of the prayers, he says, thank you very much for killing my father. Now the interesting thing is that the analogy that he gives is that of he says that even saintly persons, they will kill a snake or a scorpion without any remorse. Srila Prabhupada actually talks about it, that once he was with his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta, on a yatra, and they went to some place, some house, and there was a cobra in the house, and Bhaktisiddhanta told his disciples, kill the snake. The disciples were a little surprised that, sadhu, Vaishnav, compassionate. So should we just leave him, or take him and leave him in the jungle? And Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, kill the snake. And Prabhupada was also a little amazed, surprised by it, till he read these prayers by Prahlad Maharaj. So why is and of course, the snakes or the scorpions, they're a metaphor. That snakes, scorpions, by nature, they are envious. They're one of the few creatures that will bite you just for the sake of biting you, not because they feel that they are being threatened or whatever. They'll bite you and they'll go away, just like envious people. Envious people, they will harm you, not because they fear you, not because they're protecting themselves, but it's their nature. They will harm you. So Prahlad Maharaj, he glorifies the Lord. So why do you think is this quality glorified? Vaishnavas by nature are pacifists. They don't like killing. They're always ready to take the high road. And here Prahlad Maharaj is apparently saying that this man who happened to my father was torturing me. Good thing you killed him. Right? So who did he think he was? Did he know who I am? I'm a devotee of the Lord, and he dared to come and trouble me. It's a good thing. He deserved it. You killed him. I think that's one understanding of his mood. But how do we understand the real? And that's obviously not the mood. So how do we understand the real mood of Prahlad Maharaj in submitting these prayers to the Lord?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Here,
So maybe if I just wanted to hear from everybody as opposed to one person speaking all the time. Sorry, Ravi Prabhu, I'm always, I enjoy your input, but I just want more participation from the group.
sorry, Prabhuji.
No. I mean, you're absolutely right in contributing, but I just want to give others an opportunity also. So maybe if I can hear from somebody else.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Shrivani.
Haribo Shivani.
So Prabhu, I was just wondering that could it be that anything that causes hindrance in the path of bhakti needs to be eliminated?
That's a good realization. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other thoughts?
Prabhuji, Ruchi here. All these relations, right, at some point are not real, right? From the soul perspective, and our true relationship is to Krishna.
Okay.
Like ये भौतिक जग के रिश्ते हैं, right? जो असली रिश्ते हैं वो कृष्णा के साथ है, जो जन्म जन्म का रिश्ता है.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Thank you for getting that, for bringing that up. So I see Rajneesh Prabhu, you have thoughts?
Yeah, Prabhuji. I was thinking, Prabhuji, that Prahlad Maharaj was also preaching the name of Krishna, and Hiranyakashipu was a hindrance to it. So in the larger interest of spreading bhakti, was his mood that hindrance be gone, and it's good that you did that, is I was thinking.
Very good. So very interesting and distinct realizations. So one more, Ravi Prabhu, has your thought been shared, or do you want to share?
Actually, pretty much shared, Prabhuji. Like Rajneesh Prabhu almost said that. And even if Prahlad, one more point is, even if Prahlad Maharaj thinks that he is his father, he was purified by the touch of Lord.
Very good. Thank you. So very, very nice points, and I appreciate your realization. And yes, factually speaking, that's the reason that Prahlad Maharaj is glorifying the killing of his father. Because if we take the analogy of the snake, which Prahlad Maharaj gives, or we take it in the more contemporary context of Bhaktisiddhanta. So if the devotees had taken the snake and left it in the forest, then what would have happened? There was a possibility that the snake would have bitten somebody else. So the sadhu is not that much concerned about their safety, but they are fiercely concerned about the safety of others. Look at the life of Srila Prabhupada, right? He's called Sima Guru, like he's called the Lion Guru. But Prabhupada was very, very meek when it came to his own self. He was retiring, quiet, humble, devotee share of pastime that in Mayapur in the initial days, there was just one bathroom over there. And in the morning, the devotees, they would line up to use that bathroom. And one devotee says that he was standing in the line, and behind him, Prabhupada was standing in the line to use the bathroom. And he was saying that it like Prabhupada was just very naturally standing. He said it didn't even occur to me that I should ask him to go to the head of the line. So we were just standing, and I got an opportunity to talk to him for the 10-15 minutes. Then my chance came. I went in. I didn't even give him say that, Swamiji, you go ahead of me. I went in, and then after that, he went there. So he was very naturally humble. I mean, he didn't say that, oh, I'm the founder acharya and I'm standing. Look at me, I'm so humble. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj shares this, that they were on a plane once, and and the devotees, they had gotten on to say farewell to Prabhupada. So those were the days where you could actually get all the way into the plane. And so the devotees were there, and Prabhupada was standing, and so they were all standing in the aisle, and all chattering, talking to Prabhupada, and then other passengers were not able to get by. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he says, he yelled, and he says that, all you devotees, you sit on your seat, let people pass. And then he noticed Prabhupada promptly went and sat on his seat. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, no, Prabhupada, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to these others. And Prabhupada looked at him and smiled. He said, why? I'm not a devotee. So he had this naturally very humble mood, but we also see him ferocious when he's protecting his disciples. When he would chastise the disciples in a very ferocious mood when he saw their bhakti being impinged. Then he would take on this mood of being very, very heavy. So devotees have a lot of forbearance. They're able to tolerate a lot of things, but the nature is also that they are paradukha dukhi. They say, okay, it's okay for me to suffer some trials and tribulations, but let that not happen to others. So Bhakti Siddhanta said, okay, you take the snake. Now he doesn't say that, but the understanding is that you take the snake and leave it in the forest. I'm probably okay, but the snake might kill somebody else. Now, in order to protect that somebody else, if I have to take on some karma, so be it. That I'm causing a jiva to be killed, then I'm taking on some karma, so be it. But at least there is protection that is given to another. So in this way, Prahlad Maharaj, he is glorifying the Lord, that this Hiranyakashipu, he was causing so much of anxiety amongst the saintly people. And now that you have killed them, your devotees, they are happy and they are free from fear. So now that he's talking about fear, Prahlad Maharaj, he talks about his own fear. So he says that my dear Lord, I am not scared of your teeth. I'm not scared of your nails. I'm not scared of your ferocious countenance. I'm not scared of your, so because he had come as a singer, as a lion, he had a mane of hair, and the mane of hair were covered with blood. So I'm not scared of your mane of hair that is soaked with blood. And he said, I'm not scared of your roaring. Because when Lord Nrsinghadeva was fighting with Hiranyakashipu, then in this mood of Viraras, he was shouting. And it was said that when he was shouting, the three worlds were trembling in fear. The elephants were running around here and there in great fear. And Prahlad said, no, it does nothing to me. I'm not scared of all this. But he says, I'm scared of one thing. He says, I'm scared of not being able to remember your name. So the mood of a devotee is that they will happily accept hellish conditions or heavenly conditions. They will accept piety or impiety, opulence or poverty, strength or weakness, as long as it is not an impediment to their devotion. And this is a recurring mood of devotees. The one thing that the devotees will pray for is that whatever condition I am in, Parishad Maharaj prays the same thing, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, Kunti Devi, this recurring mood that whatever condition I am in, good, bad, ugly, let that be. Because how does one go into those conditions? Because of their karma. Right? So they are saying that my Lord, don't care about my karma. Let my karma put me in whatever condition I deserve to be. If I have good karma, let that put me in heavenly kingdoms. If I have bad karma, let it put me in hellish conditions. But only thing that I pray is that I should always remember you. To me, that is the greatest fear. So, from a practical perspective, what does this mean? That a devotee prays to the Lord not for opulence, but for devotion. Right? When the devotee is saying, I'm fine, heaven, hell, wherever, they're saying, I'm not coming to you to take away the reactions of my karma. I'm not coming to you to give me material benedictions. All that I'm coming to you is for bhakti. And what is the most potent form of engaging in bhakti? In the association of devotees. So ultimately, that is the core of the prayer. That may I never be deprived of the association of devotees. Because if the person says, may I never forget the Lord, there is still this sense of pride in the person. That the person is saying that, may I be strong in my bhakti, that I do not forget you. Or may I conquer my weaknesses. So devotee is saying, no. I know I'm weak. I'm not that strong, but I know that Vaishnavas are merciful. I know that their association is my protection. Right? So the person is not saying that may I be rich because I become well qualified. The person is saying, may I be rich because I get the mercy of rich person. So these, and I've covered a part of the prayer, so I'm going to stop over here because it covers the essence of the prayers. But as I mentioned, that there are seminars on the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj that run for several days. Rampur Maharaj has done a few seminars on the prayers, 7 days, speaking 2 to 3 hours every day. So there's a lot of nectar and lot of instructions that can be extracted from these wonderful prayers. But I've tried to cover the essence of the prayer in the hour or so that I had. And I'll stop over here and see if there's any realization that you would like to share, any discussion on what we have spoken so far. Okay, if not, then what we can do is, so I was hoping that because this would be our last discussion on this topic. Indulekha, do you want to lead in the Nursing Kavach prayers? And then after that, we can do Nursing Aarti.
You mean the Ugram Viram?
Ugram Viram followed by Nursing Kavach.
Okay.
Okay, but if you can wait just a minute, I see Rajneesh Prabhu has his hands raised.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I was just wondering that we go to New Vrindavan, right? There also the Nrsinghadeva Pratima is in the Ugra form. Is it similar to what others you were mentioning?
No,
And
it's Prahlad Narsingh over there.
it's Prahlad Narsingh? But we do see the big nails, right?
Yeah, but it's Prahlad Narsingh. The Ugra form is the one that we see in the picture, right? Sometimes we see in the picture with Lord Nrsinghadeva with, Hiranyakashipu and, the hands and the intestines. That is the Ugra form there. But whenever he's there with either Prahlad or Lakshmi Devi, then he is in the pacified form.
Isn't the Mayapur deity the Ugra Nrsimha form?
Mayapur deity is Ugra Nrsimha.
Yeah, that is Ugra Nrsimha.
I thought that was Thanu Nrsinghadeva.
No. No, because I read the pastime with the Pankajangri. Yeah. So he was the one who agreed to worship when he was being made. Before actually they decided.
But it's not Ugra, it's Thanu. Because if you look at the deity, then you will see that his feet are bent.
Yeah, he's ready to leap. That's what they say.
Yeah, so that's the form with which the Lord just appears from the pillar.
Or he's about to appear.
Right. So when he jumps out of the pillar, that's the form. That's called stanu. Stun is the pillar, I guess.
Hari Bol Prabhu. Hari Bol Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. What I have heard is who did the carving, the South Indian, the Shilpi, they are called, they have a nice name because they are head Shilpis. He actually went and consulted the Acharya of Kanchi Paramacharya, and he said you cannot carve a Ugra Narasimha unless, because there are so many restrictions and so many things that they have to follow. So even carving is not allowed. So when he showed the picture of what needed to be carved, he called it stana because he's standing, and there is so it is not a Ugra Narasimha supposedly. I beyond that I wouldn't say. That is what I know, I have heard. But I know in Mulki, my father's place where my father was born, there is a Ugra Narasimha temple, but the deity is not big because they say they cannot keep a deity beyond certain size because the effects of the energy that it still might be good energy, but it cannot be tolerated by most people who are at least in a vicinity. So, and it is very, 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 they always do a lot of gandhalepana. They do always like very, very calming, very, and very austere pujas and stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's my understanding also. there is another form of Nrsingadev close to Mayapur. I think it's called Nrsinghapalli, and there they have yoga. I'm sorry?
That's Nrsinghapalli, yes.
Nrsinghapalli, and there they have yoga nursing. So there he is sitting in the lotus position of yoga. He is without Prahlad or without Lakshmi Devi, but apparently that position also is a more pacified position. Lord Nrsingadev in Yoga Mudra. Lord Nrsingadev and Lord Ram are considered to be Pravasta avatars. So of all the incarnations of Krishna, these two incarnations are considered to be the closest to Krishna in terms of qualities, potency, etc. Lord Ram has his own planet in Vaikuntha. Lord Nrsingadev also, he resides in Vaikuntha. And the worshippers of Lord Nrsingadev, they go to his planet in the spiritual world.
In Shiva Vishnu temple, there is Yoga Narasimha. How it is, I had told this one time. They have Sudarshan on one side and Narasimha on that side, but Yoga Narasimha.
Yoga Narasimha, the quality is that his hands are on his knees.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention. You know, they put so much alankar on the thing. You just don't know how the deity is sitting, standing, can't make out.
Right. So that is the yogic posture, that he has his feet crossed and his knees are raised and his hands are
We posted one in the picture in there.
Yeah, that's the Ahobalam posture, same one.
Yeah. In our
WhatsApp group. Yeah.
Okay, good. If there are no more.
So, Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just read up something, and it says that this deity belongs to the Ugra category. Ugra means ferocious, but very angry. There are 9 forms within this category. They are all very fierce. The one they want is Thanu Narsingha, stepping out of the pillar. So it's a category under the, like it's a subcategory under the category of Ugra Narsingha.
This you read from where?
ISKCON Bangalore.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Prabhuji, is there anything mentioned about Prahlad's mother? Because she was she a devotee too? Would you say that?
Kayadhu is mentioned definitely. So Kayadhu is used as an example to demonstrate the effect of bad association. So by nature, Kayadhu was pious, and she spent a long time, 36,000 years, in the Bhajan Kutir of Narad Muni, listening to Krishna Katha. So her realizations were, of course, became exalted. But Prahlad Maharaj mentions himself that I heard and my mother heard the teachings of Narad Muni, but my mother, when she came back to her husband, she actively took his association. Prahlad Maharaj was always giving his association. When Hiranyakashipu would ask him, what did you learn? And he would basically give him what Narad Muni had taught him. Lord Vishnu is supreme. There are 9 angas of bhakti. Kayadhu, on the other hand, she was taking his association. And that's why her bhakti got covered.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Okay, Indulekha, you want to start?
Okay, let me just sit down and in the proper mood.
So the Narsingh Kavach appears in the Brahman Puran, and it's a prayer to Lord Nrsinghadeva for all kinds of protection.
Okay, I'll be back.
It's a prayer in mixed mode actually. It's not simply a prayer for bhakti. It's a prayer for bhakti, bhukti, mukti, everything. Give me devotion, give me material enjoyment, give me liberation. We still recite it because for devotees, bhukti and mukti is a sub part of bhakti. So it's not that devotees are masochistic or nihilistic, that they say that no, I only want suffering. Like when devotees say that whatever suffering is there, it's not that they want suffering, but they use that to show that the importance of devotion. But even if I get suffering, I would prefer devotion. It does not mean that they're actively seeking out suffering. Actually, Krishna takes very good care of his devotees. They live very nice lives. And if you're related to the same principle of what was that word? I seem to be forgetting it. Same principle of favoritism. Like if you're related to a powerful person, then just that relationship will give you a lot. So devotees live good lives, but even if they were to ask for something material, it is as an anga of bhakti. That if you so desire, like Prabhupada would ask his disciples to pray when he had bad health. So you pray to Nrsinghadeva, and my dear Lord, if you so desire, please protect our Guru Maharaj so that we can continue in your service. Right? So not because that he just wants to live longer, and always the submission is to the Lord, that if you so desire. Okay. So whenever you're ready, Indulekha.
Okay. So everybody can see me. Is my picture tilted?
No, we lost the video. We lost the video.
Oh, you lost the video.
Can't see you,
I wanted to have these verses in front of me, so in case I goof up, that's fine. So so I'll just say the prayers. Okay.
I think you can come over here, right? And you can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me do that. I'll come up.
She's presently in the east wing of the house, so she's coming to the west wing.
I didn't know, Prabhuji, that you moved to White House.
Right now, she's on the metro.
Prabhuji is our president.
Good, now everybody knows I'm back. I'm outside the metro now. So the first one is the one verse prayer.
Mataji, we are not able to see you.
Oops. Why are you not able to see me?
प्रभु का भी बंद कर दिया आपने.
Oh, I did not. He did it.
Okay, now you can see me, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Ukram Veeramahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukam Nrsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityurnamamyaham Ukram Veeramahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukam Nrsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityurnamamyaham Ukram Veeramahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukam Nrsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityurnamamyaham. The Nrsinga Kavach prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, and these are from the Brahmand Puran. Nrsinga Kavacham Vakshaye Prahladenti Tampura Sarva Rakshakaram Punyam Sarva Padanam Nashnam Sarvasavatkaram Chaiva Swarak Mokshpadhyayakam Jatva Nrsingham Devesham Him Singha Samsitam Vivritasam Trinam Sharadindu Samprabham Lakshmi Alingita Vamangam Vibhuti Virupashitam Chaturabhujam Komilangam Swarnakundal Shobhitam Saro Shobhitoraskam Ratnakeyurmudritam Taptakancham Samkashan Pita Narmal Vasasam Indradi Surmolista Suran Marakiti TV Virajit Padan Virajit Padandvam Shanchakrati Tribis Gardatmacha Vinaya Stoya Manamudantam Sratkamal Samvasam Kritva Tupajam Patet Nashimo Meshwapatu Lokriksharti Sambhava Sarkopi Sambhava Sa Phalam Me Rakshatu Dhanem Nashingo Me Drishapatu Somsrayagi Lochna Smartapatu Narhari Muni Varisiti Priya Nasana Singha Nasastu Mukham Lakshmi Mukha Priya Sarvidati Papatu Nashingo Rastam Mama Vatram Patma Indughanam Sada Palad Pandita Nashinga Patu Mekantam Skanda Gopidra Antkrit Divyastra Shobit Puja Nashinga Patu Me Puja Karo Me Devar Do Nashing Patu Savrata Hridemagi Satyacha Nivasam Patu Me Hari Madhyam Patu Hinaksha Vaksha Kukshi Vidharna Nabhi Me Patu Narhari Swanami Brahma Samsata Brahmand Kotya Katya Me Sasa Patu Me Katem Guya Patu Guyana Mantranam Guy Ruptrik Uru Mano Patu Janu Nira Ruptrik Jage Patu Tadra Harta Yosanar Ki Shri Suraja Pradapato Pado Mener Harishvara Sahasra Shishra Purushaha Pato Meshar Sasanam Mahagrah Purvatapatu Mahavyakrakcho Agrataha Mahavishnu Dakshane tu Mahajalastu Neritaha Ashyapato Sarveshu Dishi Me Sakta Mukha Nashingpato Vayamyam Soma Bhushan Vigraha Ishanam Patu Badro Me Sarv Mangaldaeka Samsar Tapatu Mrityu Narki Shri Idam Narshingam Kavacham Prabhakam Manditam Bhaktimanya Pati Nityam Sarpape Pramuchyate Putravan Danvaloke Tirkaropi Chayate यम यम कामते कामं तं तं प्राप्नोति असंशयं सर्वत्रजम् आप्नोति सर्वत्र विजयी भवेत् भूम्यान्तरिक्ष दिव्यानां गृहाणां विनिवारणं वृक्षिकार्को सम्भूता विशापहरणं परं ब्रह्मरक्षक्षाणां दूरोसारणं कारणं भुजयवताल पात्रे वा कवचं लिखितं शुभं कर्मूलिधृतं येन तत्सिद्ध्यै कर्म सिद्ध्यय देवासुर मनुष्येषु स्वयं स्वयं एव जयं लभेत एक संध्यं त्रिसंध्यं वा या पाठेन तो नरः सर्वमंगल मांगल्यं मुक्ति मुक्तिं च विन्दति ज्योतिषान्ति सहस्राणि पठे शुद्धात्मा नाम राम कवचस्य मंत्रस्य मंत्रसिद्धि प्रजायते मंत्र राजेन कृत्वा भस्माभिर्मन्त्रणं तिलकं विनसेदेस्तु तस्य गृहे हमारेत् त्रिवारं जपमानस्तु तत्तं वार्यवे मंत्र च अस्य धियो नरो मन्त्रं नरसिंहानमाचरेत् तस्य रोगः प्रणश्यन्ति यच्च सकुप्ति सम्भवः गर्जन्तं निजुष्पटलं स्फोटयन्तं अतन्तं रूपयन्तं तपयन्तं दिवि भुवि तितिक्यं शेपयन्तं क्षिपन्तं क्रुरन्तं रोषयन्तं दिशि दिशि सतन्तं समरन्तं भरन्तं विक्षान्तं पूर्णयन्तं कर्णिकर्षतैर दिव्यसिंहं नमामि इति श्री ब्रह्मांड पुराणे प्रहलादोक्तं श्री नरसिंह कवचम संपूर्णम् श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय Hare Krishna. Bindu is supposed to be doing the Nrsinghadeva prayer. Bindu is here. Yes, we see Bindu. So I'm going to mute myself.
Namaste Nrsinghaya Prahlad Hiranyakashipu Shilakankanakalani Ito Nrsinga Parato Nrsinga Yato Yato Yamitato Nrsinga Bahir Nrsinga Ilahi Nrsinga Narasimha Made Sharanam Prakare Tavakara Kamalavare Naka Adhuta Shinda Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev Bhagwan ki Jai Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai Govinda Shri There you go.
Thank you, Bindu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Felt good. Felt good singing. Nice. So I think we have to do one round of japa now, or right? Or was it supposed to be before the Nrsinghadeva prayer?
No, Mataji. Oh, that I heard.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me grab my beads then.
Yeah, it was before, but we can do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much, Bindu, for the Nrsinghadeva prayers. So we'll chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra together. You can unmute yourself. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna